Okay, first off, yes, I put a really shitty sunblock up behind me because the light's getting through. I hope it holds up for this video. Number 2, liberals, stop making me wear this fucking hat. I'm tired of it. I don't want to wear this fucking hat. I'm not voting for the guy. I don't fucking want him to be president. But fuck, every lie, every time you open your fucking mouth, I just go, you know what? Could be worse. Holy shit, I've never seen a group of people shoot themselves in the foot more with their petulant lying, whining, and bullshit than liberals. Well, maybe conservative Republicans. See, that's why I vote Gary Johnson. That's why I vote Libertarian. Because you fucking people, in search of getting your way, will stop at nothing, including the truth, to get what you want. Stop lying about Donald Trump and the shit he says and his supporters, all right? He believes in enough shit that wouldn't work already. You don't need to make shit up. And you know, I'm sorry, but throughout history, different political groups lie more than the other. And in our current history, it's liberals with their speech policing and their social justice warriors and basically creating a new language on college campus that is about as useful as pig Latin. You see, when I was growing up in the 90s, it was the conservatives that were the speech police. You couldn't say mean things about Jesus. You weren't supposed to say anything sexual. Howard Stern was getting fined out the ass just for making people laugh while they were on their way to their shitty jobs. They fucking sucked, and it was horrible. Now it's liberals' turn. And boy, do they have a trump card, no pun intended. And that trump card is racism. Somebody said something politically that I didn't like or that I think will be detrimental to my own narrative. Racism. Somebody dared to talk about race in a way that I'm not okay with. Racism. You know who you're actually helping when you cry racism every time someone disagrees with you? You're helping racists. You know, the Ku Klux Klan, people of that ilk, people who are actually bigots and racist. Because when someone says something like, I think we should get the 11 to 12 million illegal immigrants we have and send them back to their country for breaking the law. That's not racist. When you call that racist, people go, oh, okay, so that's what racism is. That's relatively innocuous. That's a political statement. So then when I say the Ku Klux Klan is racist, all of a sudden you go, oh, you mean like that guy that wants to enforce immigration laws. No, the Klan is much worse than that. They want to send black people back to Africa and have white people and black people live separately. I don't want that. I want white people and black people to live in the same neighborhood. Life gets boring when everyone looks like you. But every time you guys go after Donald Trump, his poll numbers go up. That should teach you something. And the thing it should teach you is that people fucking can't stand you. They're tired of you telling them what to think, what to feel, what to say, how to believe, and being scared to death that they're going to get punished if they trip over their words for 5 seconds and you jump all over them with horseshit. That's why Donald Trump is becoming popular. It's on you. It's not on me. I've been trying to eliminate the income tax. I've been trying to end the Federal Reserve. Donald Trump isn't about either of those things. He's not my guy. But you know what? You guys, with your constant lying and whining and pissing and moaning, are making people go, well, I certainly don't want those fucking retards to be in charge. Fuck it, let's go with Trump. I would be much happier with a Ted Cruz. I'd be very happy with a Gary Johnson or a Ron Paul. But shit, you guys just had to go and make this guy great again. Let's break down the lies about Donald Trump. He's a racist! Donald Trump is a real estate mogul in one of the biggest, most diverse cities in the entire world and became a billionaire. You can't become a racist in the biggest, most diverse city in the nation and be worth $10 billion. You would have to discriminate constantly against black people. You would have to discriminate constantly against people who weren't part of your religion. Asians, Latinos, etc. He doesn't have a track record of doing that. Period. So what's your evidence for calling Donald Trump a racist? Well, can you believe what he said about Mexicans? He said they're rapists. Yeah, except if you have ears, you know that that's bullshit. Donald Trump did in fact say that illegal immigrants crossing the border do tend to commit rape at a disproportionate rate, which, if you check the statistics, is true. 80% of women crossing the Mexican border are raped in Mexico. A lot of it because of the drug smuggling, the drug trade, coyotes peddling them across the border, then take their sexual liberties. Does this mean that all Mexicans are rapists? Of course not. If you're more than 6 years old, you know that. And you don't need to say it. Does this mean that all immigrants who come to this country are rapists? Oh, shit. Of course not. And anyone over the age of 6 understands that. The fact that we have people who are going to vote in this next election that don't grasp that concept is fucking frightening. Number 2, he wants to build a wall. Okay, a lot of places build walls, including the Vatican. You know, that Pope that all of a sudden you guys like now because he agrees with you on some stuff. Yeah, his city's surrounded by a giant fucking wall. Mostly because in a lot of the Middle Ages, Muslims were raiding and trying to invade Rome. But that's a different story for a different day. Who really started the Crusades? The Pope builds a wall. The Chinese built a wall. A lot of places build walls. It is a way to define a natural border and to enforce immigration laws. Now, as a libertarian, I'd love to have open borders. I think it would be a great idea, but you liberals fucked that up in the 60s when you started the welfare state and the war on poverty. You can't have open borders and a welfare state. It puts an undue burden on the producers of this nation to then have their wealth seized at gunpoint and then given to people who are not here legally anyway. So you can't have open borders if you have a welfare state. So liberals, I know this is tough because we're telling the little babies they can't have their way all the time. You've got to pick one of your favorite things. You get to have the welfare state, which has, by the way, kept poverty stuck at where it is instead of going down, which is where it was before the war on poverty. You can either have your war on poverty, which has failed and given us about $14 trillion worth of spending and zero results except for dependence on government and intergenerational poverty, or you can have open borders. I'll take this one. Open borders, sure. Come on over, get a job, work your balls off. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what invisible friend you pray to. Go fucking bananas. Just don't hurt anybody and don't take their stuff. Come here, get a job, get a shitty apartment, live 6 or 7 to it, and work your way up generationally. It's the way it's been done for hundreds of years. That's fantastic. But you don't get to take other people's stuff. It's not moral, it's not right. So we can either have your welfare state, and then we have to have strict immigration laws that we actually enforce, or B, we can just get rid of the welfare state and have open borders. Sure. What's the other lies that they've told? Oh, this is my favorite one. Donald Trump is encouraging violence and his supporters are violent too. Really? Because the only supporters of any candidate I see going to other candidates' rallies and trying to interrupt them are Bernie Sanders supporters. Which, by the way, kudos, because I didn't think you little fucking twinks who supported that commie shithead actually had any balls whatsoever. Maybe you grabbed balls from somebody with a lot of balls and then, I don't know, maybe you redistributed them into your nutsack. None of my business. But you showed a little sand. You found a guy you didn't like and you went to go try and shut him down. You know, like socialists usually do. You went to try and shut him down and you got your fucking ass kicked. Guess what? That's what happens when you go to people's rallies and try to shut them down. Donald Trump supporters are not violent. If Donald Trump supporters were violent, they would go to Hillary Clinton, Ted Cruz, and Bernie Sanders rallies and just start fucking people up. I mean, gangs in New York style, tipping over tables, punching people in the face, using that fucking weird part club cudgel, part Celtic cross, part knife thing that Liam Neeson had. They'd be fucking people up. If Trump supporters were violent, you would have fucking known it by now. But Donald Trump supporters just go to their rallies. They've been waiting for months to go to these rallies, and here comes some egg-headed college dipshit running towards the stage, yelling and screaming while they're trying to listen to the guy they're supporting for president talk. Guess what happens when you do that in the real world? You get the shit beat out of you. Why? Because you're acting like a fucking retard. Donald Trump supporters are violent. No, Donald Trump supporters are trying to tell rude cunts who are trying to interrupt rallies that they're not putting up with their bullshit, and you're probably going to get beat up. Try to interrupt a Metallica concert. Try to interrupt a Farrakhan speech. You're getting your fucking ass kicked, as you should. Donald Trump comes from 1980s and 1990s New York, where you had to be cutthroat. You had to get around the mob and politicians, which are kind of one and the same, in order to succeed. He is from that badass, brash, cutthroat New York City that actually rose out of the ashes of shittiness with the help of Giuliani, no thanks to Mayor Dave Dinkins. And he actually made something of himself. So no, when he says, if someone tries to throw a tomato at me, knock the crap out of them. That's not encouraging violence. That's encouraging an adequate response. If you're gonna go to someone's rally and throw a fucking tomato, I hope you get your fucking head punched, you idiot. So are Donald Trump supporters violent? Of course not. They do not initiate violence against anyone. Now, if someone comes to start some shit, they're going to get their asses shut down. And by the way, the Michelle Field story is total bullshit. If you watch, they grabbed her by the arm because she tried to step in front of Donald Trump and ask him questions on his way out, and they just pulled her back in line. That's what's going to happen. By the way, try to do that to President Obama. Fuck that. Just try to do it to George Clooney. Guess what? You're going to get your ass kicked. They were very nice to Michelle Fields. So liberals, in summation, stop making me wear this fucking hat. I want Gary Johnson to win. I know he's not. I would rather have Ted Cruz be the nominee than Donald Trump. But you keep making me wear this fucking hat because you won't stop lying. You're petulant babies who, when you don't get your way, you make up a bullshit story so mommy and daddy buy it and get you the toy you want. Try to win your arguments logically. Try to win them with facts and statistics and reason and brain power and... Oh, I get it now. Never mind. Carry on.